For today's tutorial, I'm going to be doing a collaboration with Freakmo. Some of you know her as Kina, and she did this amazing demon tutorial. So we're both going to be doing a demon look, but doing slightly different takes on it. I'm going to start off with my lava horns. I'll have a tutorial on this on my second channel soon. And then I'm going to start off with a moisturiser. I'm not going to be using any kind of foundation. It's a demon look, so I don't have to have flawless skin, and I can get away with a spot or two. After that, I'm going to be adding a lot of soot and dirt to my face, and the easiest way to get this effect is to get a paper towel, and then you're going to scrunch that up. You're going to dab it over a black eyeshadow or a grey eyeshadow, one of the two, and I'm going to start putting that around my hairline, underneath the jaws, cheekbones, and then a little bit towards the edge of the eyes as well. And you're going to keep applying this onto the eyeshadow and then just really roughly working it onto the skin, and sometimes try and shake it up a little bit. So once you've used one pattern a little too much, just take the tissue, scrunch it up again, and then use a different side, and you'll get a different pattern each time, and it's going to look really natural and organic. With the same eyeshadow brush that I'm going to be doing my eyes, I'm going to start filling in my eyebrows, and I'm just going to fill in the arch of my brows and a little bit on the start of them as well. It's not going to be too perfect. I don't really want my brows to look flawless in this. I just don't want them to look sparse in the areas where they're normally a little bit thin. But then with the same brush, I'm going to take the same black eyeshadow that I used for the soot. I'm going to start on the outer corner of the eye, get it as close to the lashes, and blend all the way into the inner corner. Do it on the other eye as well, and I won't be using a primer for this, and I'm sure you can guess why. I'm going to bring that down onto the lashes on the lower lid, and once that's blended out, we're going to put a large amount of that colour on the outer corner of the eye, work it into the crease. Once you're at the inner corner of the eye, you're going to start bringing that colour up into the brows, and then with whatever's left on your brush, you're going to start smoking everything out, and you're going to be rough with this. You could even use your finger if you really want to get that grungy effect. But then whatever's left on the brush, you're going to bring that down along the bridges of your nose, and then we're also going to add a tiny little bit on the lips, so a little bit on the cupid's bow and then underneath on your lower lip, and then you're just going to blend it out around your lips as well. After you've blended out the lips, this is where we're going to start taking that lava theme a little bit further. I'm going to start off with a base of yellow all over the lashes. I won't be putting any false lashes on for this. You want to keep with whatever you've got naturally. I'm going to add that on the upper and the lower lashes. Add some yellow to the very end just to make it look like it's on fire. You can also add some red if you want as well. And then on the very tips of my eyelashes, I'm going to be putting some white as well. And this is going to make it look a little more like it's on fire, but it's also going to make your lashes look a lot longer in contrast with all the other colours going on around it. Now if those aren't standing out enough, especially on the lower lid, then just add a bit more eyeshadow underneath so that the contrast makes them pop. And then with a black cream, I'm going to start doing all these squiggles going out from the eye, and you can be really rough for this because this is the basis of how we're going to get that lava pattern. So just do these veiny patterns which are going to lead out from the eye, and then on the outer corner of the eye, this is where we're going to get that lava to start to go out from the eyes towards the hairline. You're going to already see a little bit of a pattern coming out with the tissue paper technique that we used earlier, so try and follow that as well. It makes it a lot easier for you, and it means you don't have to make up the shape, and you can just take whatever's there and build upon that. After that, I'm going to be using a combination of 3 different colours, some red, some orange and some yellow. You can use the yellow as the base, add some red around the edges, and then right in the centre we're going to add a few dots of white. You could just use the colours I mentioned on their own, but the easiest way to get a slightly more realistic look for lava is to use a blended combination of those colours. So I'm going to take those 3 colours that I mentioned and then blend them together so that I'm going to get varying shades on different parts of the palette. And then I'm going to start working those into the cracks that I've drawn. On the inner corner of the eye, I'm going to add another crack, and it's just going to start on the tear duct, and you're going to wiggle it out. You're going to do a few lines going down and then a few lines going up. I'm going to start off with a very pale, milky white yellow. Finish off a few more patterns on the outer corner of the eye, and then do exactly the same on the other eye as well. Now don't worry if the contrast isn't making this stand out too much at the moment. We're just getting the pattern, and then we're going to add in more black eyeshadow so that there's a greater contrast afterwards. Also on the underneath of the eye, try and get a long line of that going just underneath the lashes. It's going to make your eyes appear a little bit larger, but it's also going to make it look like the lower lashes are maybe a bit on fire. Once you've added all the patterns that you want, we're going to go back to that black eyeshadow. You're going to need to change that brush. You can't really use the same brush, and I'm going to be using a pointed eyeliner brush, and because it's got a very fine tip, it means that if I want to add to that veining pattern, I can do it quite easily, but then I can also really pack on the colour in some places. So I'm going to outline those lava cracks, and in some places I'm going to need to add a little more veining just to make it look a little bit more organic. Now down the centre of my lips I'm going to be using a bright red. Bear in mind that it is very hard to rub your lips together when you've got these fangs on, and they're also a little stained because my last tutorial I used a red food colouring, and unfortunately red food colouring sometimes stains certain fangs, so you do need to bear this in mind if you're going to be using this trick. I'm going to add a mulberry lipstick to the very top and bottom of my lips and then blend them together. They don't need to be neat, you don't need any kind of perfectly neat edges, they just need to look like your mouth hasn't quite decided whether it's been burnt or if it has a rash. And the last step isn't going to taste very nice, but it looks very effective, so I'm going to be using some black food colouring. Mine tastes disgusting, but it looks very good, so other than that, you're done.